Is U.S. Representative from Missouri, Republican Eric Burlison. He's on that Oversight Committee. Congressman, it's great to have you back on.
Good to be back, Grant.
All right, so what do you say to those folks? A lot of Democrats saying this, some Republicans questioning it. I quite frankly don't blame Republicans for questioning this. Is it for show, or are you guys sincere here, Congressman?
No, I think this is being done with all sincerity. Look, we're hearing from our districts. I personally want to know the details and what happened with the Epstein case. I want to know if there were other individuals involved. I think the American people want to know that. And so I think we owe it to the American people. And look, if we're not going to get answers on something as simple as this, then we have to really start questioning whether this government works for the American people or the American people work for this government. I hope it's the former. And I think that's why we're fighting to truly get this information.
All right, this list, and it's not an understatement when you talk about a who's who with the deep state, from the Clintons to Merrick Garland, Gonzalez, Loretta Lynch, Comey is on the list. Do you think they will answer your questions, or are these guys going to take the fifth like they always do?
Well, I'm sure that they all will lawyer up, but look, Grant, keep in mind, when somebody takes the fifth, it looks horrible. I mean, can you imagine Hillary and Bill pleading the fifth, saying that they don't want to incriminate themselves, which begs the question, what crimes did you commit, right? So I think these subpoenas, Congress does have the authority to do this. These individuals owe it to the American people. They were all public servants. They owe it to the American people to come and provide truth about their interactions, whether they were involved in the investigation and they failed to do their part, or they were a part of the Epstein conspiracy from the beginning.
How does it work? I'm not sure I've been in a situation where I've so wanted to ask so many questions of so many different cases. Can the Oversight Committee then venture into Russian collusion? I know you have ventured into it before on other situations and interviewing other witnesses, but if you bring Hillary Clinton in, is it open season? Can you ask her about anything?
Generally, what their lawyers do is kind of create the framework for the behind-the-scenes deposition. And in that framework, they will create the scope of what we can discuss. And that's part of the agreement, usually whenever we get someone that's going to be a willing participant in testifying. If they're not going to be willing, and if they're not going to negotiate ahead of time, then those are the key indications that they're probably just going to plead the fifth.
All right. What are the reasons why we do this closed door when the American public would love to see Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton on the hot seat?
That's a really good question. And before I was in Congress, I asked the same question. But having been through a deposition, I can tell you the attorneys that are on staff are able to ask. They're trained at this. They know which questions to ask. They know what follow-up questions to ask. They know how to drill into the facts of a situation. And what it does is it gives members of the committee, myself included, an insight as to what questions we need to ask in a public hearing. And so first, you want to have the deposition behind closed doors, and that gives you an understanding of what you should be asking in the public hearing.
What happens if they don't show up?
Well, they can be found in contempt of Congress. I mean, look, we do have the authority to subpoena these individuals. And I think that if they're not going to show up, that's showing disrespect for Congress. And I think we can hold them in contempt.
Look, we know the Democrats were fully willing to do that to Republicans. Republicans haven't always been willing to do that to Democrats. I do think it is somewhat of a different day for the amount of persecution that Democrats offered up on President Trump and his confidants, that payback is going to be a real witch with a B if it comes down to all of that. Before I let you go, Congressman, say you get these folks on the stand. I know you'd have different questions for each one, but what's the one burning question you want to ask about Epstein, and maybe who would it be to?
I would want to ask former President Bill Clinton, how many times did you fly on the plane with Epstein? How many times did you go to Epstein Island? Did you have inappropriate relations with any of these young victims? Did you see any inappropriate relations with these young victims? Did you have any interaction? Did you have any knowledge of this? Those are the kind of questions that I would want to drill into.
Well, they're the questions we would all love answered. I appreciate, as always, Congressman Burlison, getting the straight scoop from you. It's great having somebody on the inside willing to talk to us openly about all of this, and keep up the fight up there. I know it's got to be awful frustrating for you, but we appreciate you, sir, as always.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate you too.